It's voting season, which means a bunch of senators are about to lose their seats. If it were me, I wouldn't want to be sitting in front of an Avalanche. Let's start the pregame show. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light. It's Rudo and Big E coming to you live. I've never sat with a senator before.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, it's first time for everything, I guess.
I once was a senator.
Can you even spell the word politics?
No. Especially Canadian politics.
Yeah, what is politique? How do you say it in French? I don't
know.
Avs taking on the Senators, trying to make it 5 in a row, trying to keep this winning streak going back at home. Expectations are that it will be the same lineup that the Avs have been running. Colton, okay, good to go. Miles Wood, okay, good to go. Annunen in net for his 4th straight start. I put it on Twitter today. I don't know if you can put a label on it, but I haven't heard of a lot of backups getting 4 starts in a row, buddy.
Buddy, I think this is, you're right. I mean, not to go back and talk about, but at some point you have to deliver in this league. And, I think too many times since last year, there's been some ups and downs. And when there's downs, I think you got to figure out, like, what do you do about it? And I think Eustace's case has always been that he hadn't played, you know what I mean? So you got to play him, you know what I mean, to know what you got. And then last year, we all know that he probably would have gotten that start in Winnipeg. Let's just be honest.
Probably.
He would have gotten game 2 if it wasn't for the stomach bug. I'm not trying to be stupid, but it was a stomach bug or something like that, if I remember. And then, I think this year, he didn't have the best of preseasons for me. I thought...
Agreed. He wasn't particularly good.
He reminded me of some guys that were sent down, you know what I mean, where Ben and I was like, they left me wanting more, you know what I mean, wanting more. And I think it was the same thing with Eustace, and then obviously he gets in those 2 not starts, but games where it's not the same thing.
Still doesn't play particularly well.
That's
though.
right.
Yeah.
But he didn't pass the test. He failed. He failed miserably, actually. But when he's given the opportunity to go, he's been great. Meaning at the start of the game. So, yeah, you're right. Not many times do you see a backup get 4 games in a row. So I think you're in a position here where what have you done for me lately? And I love that. And again, when they picked up MacKinnon, they told everybody, hey, listen, you're all on notice because if you're going to perform, you're going to play. If you won't perform, you won't play. And I love the fact that he stuck with that the last few games, and now it's just up to Eustace to keep going and to show that you belong not only in the league, but to get a lot more than people expected.
MacKinnon did play today, this afternoon with the Eagles, and he also played on Friday with them. So he has 2 AHL games under his belt now. Expect to see him sometime later this week. I would put it to you that way.
1-1, I think, today, last I checked.
They lost 2-1.
Oh, they lost 2-1. Okay, sorry. It was when I was watching. It was 1-1.
They gave up the game-winning goal with a minute left in the game. It was very frustrating. But
shoot. All right.
But for this Avs team going into tonight, let's take a quick little rundown of the statistics of these 2 teams here. As I don't know, I don't think I'd use that many advanced stats this time. I did use high dater chances 460 to show this. Ottawa, despite having a winning record this year, one of the worst teams at generating offense at 5-on-5 this season so far. They've not been a particularly good team at 5-on-5. Where they've been unbelievably good is the power play, though. So the Avs need to have a little bit of discipline. If you want to get into a rock fight on the power play, Ottawa will burn you. I guarantee it. Beyond that, the Avs, for years, have been one of the worst face-off teams in the league. If there's one that they might be able to win a few faceoffs against, it's Ottawa. They're not particularly good in the faceoff dot either this year. So possession is important, particularly for defensive zone starts and things like that. You'd like to see the Avs do a little bit better at the dot against a team like Ottawa, unlike Utah, where they were like sub 30% or something crazy bad at the dot. The other thing, low danger save percentages. Ottawa, one of the worst in the league. What does that mean? That means put shots on net from everywhere. You'll probably get a cheap one if you start throwing pucks at the net against Ottawa. Obviously, the Avs have struggled there too, but they've been a lot better since Eustace has taken over the net with those low danger ones. So don't be afraid to shoot the puck often and from everywhere. And then lastly, talked about this against Utah too. Utah was one of the softest teams in the league when it comes to hits. Ottawa, one of the heaviest teams in the league, third in the league in hits per game. They will lay into you a little bit. So the Avs need to be ready to play through some physicality and be able to outwork a team that's going to come at you hard.
You're right, and we talked about it last game. If you remember, I got a little bit frustrated with the face-off percentage, like because they had played such a good game, and I was like, if I'm looking at one stat, it wasn't just the 20; it was like high 20, like 28% or something.
Yeah,
it was like
bad.
it's kind of sad. But I was more mad about the 5-on-3, how they lost it twice.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what I mean, like. That's one thing to lose a face-off, but
when you get the redo and you still lose it.
I mean, come on. There's 5 guys. There's 3 of them. Even if you lose, you got to jump on it, you know. And then you're right. That was a good stat. That was a good board there. You're right. Throw some pucks on net. At the end of the day, when you do that, stats don't lie. You know what I mean? It's
People
true.
do though. But
People lie, but stats don't lie. I mean, that's. I really like that graphic. That was well done by you guys. It gives you a little bit of a advantage mentally going into the game of what to look for. So that was well done. I like it.
yeah, it's always interesting when you look into those stats and keep in mind we're still dealing with small sample sizes early in the season. You can't really start to put a lot of meaning behind those stats until about game 20.
Well, it's like you said, the expected goals against. On the low. I mean, I'm not being rude here. But Gorgie, his first 2 games are awful, and that's where the numbers are skewed there.
For sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's still some weird weighting going on there, but it does not mean nothing either. It shows you teams which have started well and which have started poorly in areas. I'll get a little bit more to that 5-on-5 in a little bit, but first we have Biggie doing hockey in the Rockies for us. What do you guys have to say after morning skate? After we get to it right now? Well, we broke everything.
El Gelato. I like gelato.
I like gelato too.
El Gato. El Gelato.
Do you know what El Gato means, Eric?
No.
It means cat.
Does it?
Yeah. El Gato in cat is cat
gato.
in Spanish.
Los Gatos.
Well, Streambots are, we'll take that. I think that's a good luck sign. Think the Streambots are good luck. You're all good. We're chilling until.
Speaking of Rigel, it's funny on the comment there. I'd like to know what's going on there with that grievance. Here we are, game 9 of the season against the Ottawa Senators. The Avalanche are back at home after a 3-game road trip. A little bit of news there. Jonathan Drouin been skating, obviously getting a little bit closer, but nothing's changed. He is not ready to go tonight. I don't think you're going to see him in the next couple of games, but at least he's on the ice. He's skating. MacKinnon got his appointment here coming up, so you should see MacKinnon very here shortly. Ross Colton, that did not finish the last game, sounds like he's going to be playing tonight, so that's a great news for the coaching staff and for the rest of the Avalanche. Ross has been unbelievable. And then Miles Wood as well, a participant at practice, will be playing tonight. Been banged up a little bit lately. The visitors tonight, the Ottawa Senators, 4-3 this season. Good team on a road trip, like anybody else around the league. A 3-game road trip. They are 1-1. They're going to want to make it a victorious road trip. That means that they're going to want to win this game tonight. Ottawa, a good team in a sense that young, finding their ways, trying to see what they have. It's time for them to make the playoffs after a long absence. So we'll see if the Senators can stand up to the Colorado Avalanche tonight. First game back after a lengthy road trip is usually a tough game to play when you're the home team. We shall see what's installed tonight. This is Eric for Hockey in the Rockies. On behalf of AJ, Rudo, Gizmo, and everybody else, wish you a good game.
So there you go. Let's be honest. I can't believe we're saying this 2.5 weeks into the season, but the Avs are already in optional practice mode, more or less, right? So,
Buddy, it was a quiet building this morning. I'm not going to lie to you. It was pretty quiet. There was more coaches, like Ottawa had 4 coaches on the ice and 1 goalie. No, it was optional for them too. So the build, not a lot of media either for Ottawa, which usually maybe they knew it was going to be an optional, so they let them sleep in and, didn't have to come to the rink and maybe enjoyed the beautiful day in Colorado. But, I mean, that sometimes is the case. So, but the Avs, it was a little quiet. It was a little bit of not a lot of bodies. It might have been like 8 bodies on the ice. 2 goalies, though, which is fine. And it sounds like Eustace likes to get shots the morning of a game. This is a preference sometimes, but we'll see what happens. But again, it was a quiet morning at Ball Arena.
Well, when your best players are averaging like 2 points a game, you let them do whatever they want, right? So
I got no problem with that. Hey, listen, we can have a show one day on Morning Skate. I will tell you, it's the stupidest hour of your life.
I'd rather sleep in if it were me.
Oh my God. It's the Russians back then that brought that in. When they were playing against NHL teams, and then some NHL coaches started realizing like, oh, these guys practice in the morning and like
we gotta do that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's where it started. And then guys were like, oh my God, that is the dumbest thing ever. You know what I mean? And then now if you asked anyone, they would tell you like, no, cut it. No, we're good. Oh man. Anyway. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly right. When you've won 4 games in a row, do you need keys, or is that overthinking it a little bit?
Yeah, you're overthinking it, and that's why, like, honestly, when I came up with my keys there, I watched a lot of college hockey this weekend. By the way, DU was fantastic against Wisconsin.
They smoked them.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, Wisconsin's not a top 2, top 3 opponent, but they're still a top 15, top whatever it is. This year should be a good team. So anyway, that was good to see DU do like that. But I watched a lot of Nodak and BU, and they talked a lot about first goal of the game. And I was like, I try to stay away from it because the Avs always give us that. They always come back, you know what I mean, somehow in a game. So it's like they defy all the stats.
First and give up a goal a minute later.
But I do believe, and again, I'm going with my first key there, which is score first. You know what I mean? Like, if we're looking at the 3 keys right now, that's what we're doing, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna go with score first, which I usually stay away from it because of you. You always tell me stay the hell away from this, and
I've never once told you that.
Oh, sorry, it was AJ. AJ's stay away from this, and I'm like, because it's true, because the Avs are always like freaking falling down 1-0 last year. We don't know about this year.
You're not wrong.
So anyway, score first because I do feel, again, you guys know my rule, coming back after, again, I call that a lengthy road trip when you're on the road for a full week. But they had the day off Friday, right? And then they practiced Saturday. So it erases all my thoughts about first game back. But I do feel, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's a feeling I had this morning. It's a quiet building. I just feel that scoring first is going to make the Sens chase the game. It's going to, make them be uncomfortable, the Senators. And I think the Avalanche, once they get the lead, as we saw in those last couple games when they had the lead, they're such a fun team to watch. And then you can see other teams trying to open up, but they've been told, and it's written in big letters in the locker room, no track meet with this team. You know what I mean? And it's like, but when you're down by a goal, it's like, you have to. So it's like, it's kind of hard. So number 2, it kind of falls in simple but effective hockey in the first period. I mean, honestly, you got to limit all the stupidities in the turnovers. You got to get some quick outs of the D zones. You got to get pucks going south. I didn't want to use the stupidest line of get pucks deep, so I said get pucks going south. Stop going backwards with the pucks. And you saw Berube in Toronto that lose his mind on Marner and Matthews about, you could tell he was saying, go south, stop going backwards. And,
wouldn't that be north, but it's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry, go north.
Just for you Canadians, the only way to go is south. So
sorry. Yeah, we should be going, sorry. Get pucks going north. My fault, my bad. God. Anyway, number 3 would be pressure. Make that decor, hurry. Make them, just make their passes in a hurry, and that when you do that, you create turnovers that way, and you create stupidities from the opposition's defensemen. Swarm them down low and have that junkyard dog mentality a little bit. And that goes for MacKinnon, that goes to Ivan, that goes to anybody. Like right now, you got to go like a junkyard dog. You know what I mean? Like you got to make sure.
I mean, look, there's a reason that Ivan got put in Ross Colton's place last game when Colton sat out for the third period there, right? Second period, part of the second period too, I guess. But
so if you do those things tonight, like I said, we it just felt this morning like I don't know why. It's just a feeling. When you walk in a building, sometimes it's playoffs. It's like, oh my God, there's atmosphere and it's morning time. Like today, it felt like a dead building. So I'm just being awesome from Mark and Tony to Zamboni guys. We're all saying like, man, it's a little quiet today. There's not a lot of action going on. So,
well, hopefully they're saving the action for the game.
No, exactly. That's why I do feel the first 10 minutes are like, hey, just even or better the first 10 minutes, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, you're going to see that in my bets as well. Chat, we're having a few technical difficulties, but you can still hear our voices, so don't worry about it too much.
I'm glad you comforted me there because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, we're good.
That we were still being heard.
They can hear us. They'll have to deal with it.
I need a voice.
Look, when you look at where this team is at this year, you're back to 500. As good as you feel about that, as good as you feel about winning 4 in a row, the reality is this team shouldn't be comfortable being 500. You have a 3-game homestand here. Yeah, it's a back-to-back, but over the last 3-4 years, the Avs have been very, very good on back-to-backs. Is the expectation 2 wins in the next 28 hours?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think as human nature, you will look at it and say, well, the Avs are at a disadvantage, if they end up, play one game at a time, but tomorrow night, obviously Chicago's at a nice dinner in town tonight, and then they're going to be in their bed watching, the Avalanche play. Again, you just said it. Avs have never used that as an excuse. I think they've been an outstanding team on a back-to-back. Whether they're sitting here or, you know what I mean? The beauty of it is they're the better team, and I think they always look at it that way. And like I tell you all the time, I don't like 3 and 4, so I don't like Wednesday's game. That's me.
Okay.
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
I feel that's the one that you don't have a lot of legs. I don't feel that. I feel like you are just sluggish. We're on a back-to-back. I'll say it again. I feel you have the advantage on the first half of the game, and if things can go your way, usually you are in a good spot. Is if things don't go your way and you got to chase the game, as we saw last year, the best example was in LA, where in the third period they had no gas, and it was kind of almost embarrassing. But it's like you can't even be mad at the guys. They had nothing. They left it. It just didn't go their way the first 2 periods. They had to chase the game. So now 5 and 4. It's important to never look back and make sure that you're better than a 4 and 4 team anyway.
Yeah.
So, but we all know that this team could easily be 6 and 2. But
Probably
again,
should be, but
they aren't. It woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not going to play that game. You and I know
You're
that.
right.
No, we never played that game. You and I, so we won't. But I'm saying those are big 2 games, and if you win those 2, you're 6 and 4. We said it. They keep that pace on those 10 game segments. It's like a 3 and 2 and a 3 and 2. Forget about the way it was done. The math was done 0 and 4, and But somehow you're playing 600 hockey after the first 10 games, after everything that they've been through. I think at the start of the year, people would have said, yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, well, we might not be putting a label on it, but Jared Bednar kind of is. He's also kind of not. Let's see what Bedsy had to say about the goaltending at morning skate today.
Ready, guys?
Nice material.
Ross and Miles were out there.
Yeah,
Are they good to go tonight?
they're good to go. Yeah.
How do you guys bottle up everything that you did on the road and bring it back here? You guys got off to a slow start here.
Yeah, I don't know. We just got to go try and repeat what we've been doing. We've been getting better in a bunch of different areas of our game. The commitment level and the compete level has been really good. So just got to make sure it happens again from the drop of the puck tonight.
And on starting?
Yep.
Druin's been skating here for a few days. Is there more of a clear timeline?
Not yet. I mean, I would consider him now day to day. When he feels good enough to play, he'll play. Yeah, he's been on the ice, like you said, so once he gets clearance, he's not feeling the pain he's feeling now, then he'll go.
Was there, maybe getting out on the road, you talk about that a lot, being able to just kind of get away from the distractions at home. Did that help you guys get on track here?
Can't say for sure. You know, I think sometimes it's good to go on the road, especially like we had our little homestand, didn't get the results we wanted, so change of scenery can't hurt.
Coach, your goaltending obviously has been good, but how has that coincided with the tightening up in your own end, in the passing lanes, in the shooting lanes, sacrificing bodies and whatnot? Yeah,
I mean, it's been way better over the last, 5 games, I'd say. I think I think the guys, they realize, like, they're out there working hard and competing hard, but we made some big mistakes. They understand it. You expect some of those to improve, which they did. But there's over the last 4 games, especially the last 2, I think just the overall commitment level to defend and check the right way and then understand what it gets us at the other end of the rink has really improved.
Good.
Your team and Ottawa, both high-scoring offensive teams. Is there just an emphasis on defense in a game like this one?
Yeah, like we always. For us, I think we kind of rely on our offense to be able to keep ticking. It's not that we don't talk about it or spend a lot of time on it, but like it's the information that we give them when we do a pre-scout is more about this is what Ottawa's doing, this is their strengths. We sort of pick out the attack points and things that we think we can expose on the offensive side of it. But the bulk of the meeting is generally around the defensive side of things and why we have to be good in certain areas in order to keep the puck out of our net. So they do have a lot of skill, a lot of firepower. Discipline will be a key factor tonight because their power play is rolling.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so Bednar didn't have a ton to say there. Probably just ready for another game and tired of answering goalie questions, I imagine. But chat, I don't know what to tell you. When we play it back, the audio sounds fine. It seems like most of you the audio sounds fine for. So I don't know if it's YouTube or on your end, but for once I don't think it's our fault. But I wanted to get into one more thing pretty quickly here. I talked about it off the top. The Avs need to be the better team at 5-on-5 tonight. You have to control this game and impose your will on it a little bit. And the Avs have done that this season, but they've done it in a way that I think a lot of Avs fans aren't used to. So far this year, they've been comfortable playing pretty slowly, not giving up very much, but not generating a ton either. Are you comfortable with that, or do you want to see this team open up the offense a little bit more?
Well, I think with, again, I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but with the uncertainty of their lineup, again, if you look back at some of those 8 games, you had I call that secondary guys, but Drouin and Taze, and there's been a lot of guys missing, and I think it's been more a mandate of, hey, listen, we play our game, but let's be a little bit more selective. Let's be a little bit more cautious. Cautious is not the right word because cautious is death in this league. You don't want to play, especially the Avs.
Yeah.
You want to play to your identity. But you're right. It's been a little bit out of the ordinary in the sense that it's usually generating more than they have at 5-on-5. And like you said, starting slowly. You know what I mean? A lot of times I like when the Avs come out of the gate and to dictate pace. So, maybe tonight's one of those nights where they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the Coltons in those situations, meeting where they're at in the lineup, and Ivan, and, obviously Kiviranta. Guys like that, again, knock on wood, it sounds like Drouin and MacKinnon are
on the way back.
On the way back. You're not talking about weeks. You're talking about maybe days, so it's going to start to feel better and everybody's going to get slotted back in the right way.
Okay. So the slower pace is just a bit of survival as much as anything else?
I think so.
Right. Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with that one. Let's get to my bets presented by Bet365. The pregame picks, they're never ordinary around here. I feel good about 2 of my bets. My first one was a little bit of a YOLO. I'm taking Kovalenko, anytime goal scorer tonight. Look, Middlestad's been so good. He's raised that line up a little bit. I'd like to see Covey finish one for him. The other 2, Taze, plus 145 for a point tonight. You expect he's had a little bit more time to get adjusted. He's back into games, should be feeling healthy. You'd like to see him pick one up, just help the Avs out. Defense so important to the Avs scoring. And then I know I just talked about maybe you'd like to see him play faster. I'm taking no goals in the first 10 minutes of this game, basically.
I love that bet. I might just go and bet it right now because this is exactly what I've been saying the whole time on my keys and my pregame, and being there this morning. I just feel it's a little bit of a dead environment. I don't know why. It's just a feeling.
Just a vibe he's got.
Just a vibe. Just a vibe I have.
Either way, whatever bets you're feeling, whether it's those, maybe taking the over, maybe you're feeling Eustace to earn that shutout tonight that he probably deserved in the other game, do it with Bet365. And when you do bet with Bet365, use the DNVR 365 code. And of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. We do got to wrap up and run downstairs for our watch along here. So any final thoughts from you heading into this game?
Well, you know what? Let's get some more juice box. I love that. I tweeted about it today. I love the juice box. I went to the store, got a pack, 6-pack. Some people get 6-pack of, beer or Coors Light, whatever it is. I went and got a 6-pack of juice box. So I feel good about the juice man tonight. I do believe he keeps going on his way, and then we'll be talking tonight. Do we go back to him tomorrow? Which we all know that they won't.
What kind of juice?
Apple juice.
All right. Acceptable.
Looks like beer.
Orange juice is my favorite.
Oh,
to be honest.
I love orange juice.
But either way, it works. Look, Avs should treat this the same they've treated their last 4 games to me. Go out and win the game. If you do, you're above 500. You've got a 5-game winning streak. You're feeling good at home, which right now the Avs still have a losing record on home ice this year. So let's figure that out a little bit if you're Colorado.
That's a great point. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Good teams don't have that.
Agreed. So the Avs about to start, maybe 10 minutes away from puck drop here. We are going to wrap this up, but we do have a watch along coming in about 10 minutes. We'll be live for puck drop. Join us for that, or at very least join us for post game where we will break down whatever happens in this one. We appreciate y'all hanging out, and we'll talk to you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.